Hello, everyone, and welcome to another rally show with me, Bob Irvin. And as usual, I'd like to thank Five Star Vehicle Delivery for sponsoring the video. Today, I am delighted to welcome an absolute legend uh, of Welsh rallying, Howard Davies. Thanks for coming on, Howard.
No problem at all.
Good stuff. Howard, we never see you in a rally car very often these days. What have you been doing for the last few years?
I haven't been in a rally car since 2008. Well, that's a lie, actually. I had a little skid round, what's the name of that place? A race retro last year
Ah,
with a guy in a little Suzuki Ignis. And that's the last time I went in a rally car. Before that, it was probably 2008,
yeah.
which was with Phil Collins on the Neath Valley stages.
Do you miss
Yeah,
it,
I haven't
Howard?
got any desire. I've been there, done that. I have no desire to get in a rally car. I'm probably a little bit too heavy and probably lost my bottle a little bit. And yeah, I've got no desire to go fast and be frightened by a youngster. I've been there, done that.
But you do a bit of television one now, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, I'm quite busy with S4C, which is our Channel 4 here in Wales. They're very fond followers of rallying, and obviously we've got Elvin now in the top flight. Um, they follow the British Championship, and they've done a lot of stuff on S4C for years. And I basically work for them as a pundit. I also do my own little thing called Howard in the Garage, which translated means Howard in the Garage. I go around go around garages and speak to people and have a look at what shit people have got in their garages. We've done about, so I don't know, I think we've done about 30 of them at the moment. We've got another 10 commissioned this year. So,
That
and they
sounds
might be
brilliant.
going onto S4C late at night onto television
Mm-hmm.
because there's no time. Some of them are time related, but generally they're just me going to have a look what people have got in the garages and interesting stuff.
Let's go back to the start, Howard. How did you get involved? I'm guessing you started in the lanes of Wales.
Yeah, I always had an interest in rally, and I think I went to watch the Welsh with my mum and dad years and years ago in Pamperthog. Probably would have been 71, 72. I would think I would have been 7 or 8. And I was mesmerized by these cars tearing up and down the roads and the lights. I remember it was dark. And it was it was summertime. It wasn't wet and miserable. And I remember standing on the bank watching them, and then took an interest, and then bought the magazines and the the RAC and the Welsh used to come to Machynlleth to the car park. And interesting story, got knocked over by Marco Allen in a Lancia Stratos
Oh,
in the car park in Machynlleth, doing the paper round in the morning. They used to have service early in the morning. So walked into the car park, we were doing the paper round, having a look around, and wasn't really paying attention. And Marco came in the Stratos and knocked me over. And I think it was Nini Rosso took me home. Asked me, where do you live, and took me home because I wasn't injured, but I was a bit dazed. And then of course half the people in my country were playing hell because they hadn't had their newspapers, which is quite funny.
oh wait, there's worse
And
ways to die.
probably got
What?
involved in the road rally scene locally. Um, did my first event, did a couple of events with a guy in a Mini, 12 cars, and then did my first event, proper rally with a license, which would have been the Horus in 81, I think,
All
with a
right.
guy called Gareth Humphries. And I got a fail on the passage control on the second section, which thwarted our result, but really relaxed after that and got on really well. And I think we would have finished about fifth overall. We didn't because obviously we had a fail, but that really got me the bug. And speaking to Gareth afterwards, he said, you can do this, and so I just continued to go drive, road rally, navigate. It kind of went from there.
Did it come quite simple to you, Howard, to navigate inside of it?
Yeah. I think to be a good road rally navigator, you've got to have an imagination, and I've got a pretty good vivid imagination. So that was I can imagine the road. You know what I mean? Some people can't do it, can they? But yeah, no, I could, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I loved reading the map.
So,
And
so
then
did
I
you
did
do
a
any?
how did I get how did I go on from there? I did a couple of rallies with Gwyndaf. I used to work in Dolgella where his garage is, and used to call in there. And I think we did Epint. He wanted to go to Epint, and he wanted to do some stage rallies. I did a couple of stage rallies and did a couple of rallies on Epint with him. Don't remember exactly how we got on. But I'd
Hmm.
never done a rally outside Wales. This is quite interesting. And then he phoned me one Saturday night and wanted me to do the RAC. And he
Hmm.
tried a few other co-drivers and really get on. He didn't get on with the. I don't know what it was really. I think Wyndham had to be in charge. He'd been with Edwin, his uncle, and he was in charge. And then when Wyndham transferred to the stages, he didn't click. He tried a few people anyway. I was taken aback a bit, and I remember saying, "No, God, I've never done a rally outside Wales. Do you think I can do it?" And he said to me, "I wouldn't ask you if I didn't think you could do it." So,
Yeah.
and he needed an answer. Can you do it? Yes or no? I'll tell you tomorrow. Anyway, I agreed, and that was 87. And
Hmm.
then we didn't finish the rally, but we were leading in Group N. And we went off in Kielder, I think. I think we were second overall on the second stage in Oulton Park.
All right.
I think
Okay.
Marco Allen was fastest in the Lancia, and we were
Hmm.
set. We were 107. Of course, it was icy in the morning, and they
Yeah, I
had
was.
all had ice, and we
Uh,
didn't have any ice. So we blasted around Oulton Park in a cosy flat out, and I think we
Brilliant.
were. And that sort of went from there. Then the partnership with Wyndham
You've just.
was to last probably about 13 years, really.
I know. I mean, you've just taken me back there, Howard, because I was actually I was at Oulton Park in '87
Ah,
in the
right.
big grandstand, and I mind one of the Lanciers come round. I think it was Juha, and he was completely sideways, and everybody stood up to a man and cheered and clapped. It
Yeah,
was amazing. That was just one of my
yeah,
favourite memories. So, if we
yeah.
can go back to the road rallying, did you ever do the Motor and News Championship rounds?
No, I didn't because I said to you, I've never rallied outside of Wales until that
Yeah,
RAC. So
right,
I just did Welsh Championship events, to be honest.
right, because they were bloody
Um,
nutters, eh?
huh?
They were
We
nutters,
didn't need we didn't need to do the Motor News Championship. We didn't need to go to Wales because there were so many events.
of course.
You could do something every other weekend. Like,
Do you think yourself? Do you remember? I think it was '88 or '87 that they got banned the
yeah,
Group Four cars from.
yeah.
Do you think that was the right decision back then? Because it was a hell of a fast.
I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Is it the right decision at the time? No, but I remember sitting on the bridge in Forge, just up the road here, and watching a TR7 V8, X-Works Vauxhall Chevette, TR7 V8, Neil Jones and Neil Jones and Peter Watts, Bill
Hmm.
Gwynn and Terry Thorpe in a Vauxhall Chevette
Yeah,
HSR,
yeah, yeah.
a Group 4 Escort. I don't remember who was in that. And there was another car. What would that have been? A Group 4 car. Can't think. Would it have been John Bloxham in the Fiat, possibly?
Bloxham, yeah, maybe aye.
All
Aye.
coming down, the main road, going over the Forge Bridge, like, which is a 90 left, 90 right. It was an incredible, unbelievable sight. So no, couldn't carry on, could it? They had to tame it down somehow, in fairness.
Yeah.
Oh Christ, this is the phone, it's a pain. Hopefully the wife will pick that up downstairs. Yes, yeah.
So
Sorry.
it's all right, don't you worry. So you did the '87, the RAC with Glandalf, and then
Yeah.
your next event you finished third, didn't you? The cartel.
Yeah, that was it. That was 88, yeah. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we won Group N and finished third overall. What happened on that rally? Why did we finish? It was just a rally of attrition, was it?
I
It
think
wasn't
so.
icy,
Louise,
was
was
it?
that the year Louise was doing? I think she was in second
Louise
at
was
one point.
second. Penty won. Louise was second, and we
Yes, the
were third.
Starion.
Yeah, yeah.
Great
I
days, eh?
don't remember the history of the event. Di Llewellyn was there in an Audi, big Audi somewhere.
That's
Jimmy
right.
and
Aye.
I don't. I've got a funny feeling that the Fords did they use the 2.9? They didn't use the Cosworth.
As the
Jimmy
yes,
there
it
in
was
a
the Brooksy had the Texaco four-wheel drive the
yeah,
four before,
yeah,
didn't
and I
he?
don't think they did. I think I don't know what happened. I remember that was quite a long rally.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been what was it called? The Mintex it was, but it wasn't called the
Cartel, the
Mintex.
cartel.
The
It used to be the
cartel, yeah,
Mintex in the Seven
that's it,
Deals
yeah.
before that. But
And
what
then I
was your
didn't do the
aspiration?
Manx. I got married. I got married the weekend of the Manx of the circuit. I got
All right.
married, and Nicky Griss stepped in for me. But the turbo blew,
What was
and
your
I think we
aspirations
finished.
then, Howard?
Huh?
What was your aspirations then? Did you want to go full time in rallying, or what was your plan? I mean, when you're finishing third on the cartel, that's good going.
I don't think I had any aspirations really. It was just rally to rally, event to event. I didn't. Did I? I, I don't know really. I've never thought of that. Did I want to do it? Did I want to become professional then? I don't know, probably not. I hadn't given it a lot of thought. I mean,
Hmm.
I kept the job. I didn't actually. I kept the job all the way through. Um, I kept the job till 2000, all
Hmm.
the way for working for Ford, all the way working with Seat. No, yeah, working with Seat. I actually kept a job with British Gas. I was an
All
engineer
right.
with British Gas, and then it went
Right.
to Transco, and I did a deal with them so that I could get time off because we live in quite a rural area. We didn't have a lot of work, so as long as I covered my standby 1 in 4, 1 week in 4, they
Okay.
let me have as much time off as I wanted unpaid. So it worked out quite well. And it wasn't until so the SEAT days had finished, 2001 when I left British Gas to actually go and do something completely different, which fell over. I was going to go and work for Nicky Grist and Colin McRae on the
Hmm.
Colin McRae World Rally Experience,
Right.
which was going to be based down in Builth Wells. It was going to be like a rally school. I don't know if you ever heard about that. They
Can't
ended up
remember.
taking the boy to court, and anyway, it fell over, and I left to go and work on that. And I then went self-employed, and then um, did lots of other things then because being self-employed give you the time to be able to go and do other things, you know. So um, I went to, I worked, I did the Seat stuff, and then I met some people from Subaru, and I worked for Subaru, looking after hosting guests. And then through that, I met a woman from Canada whose husband was the driver in Canada, Tom McGeer, and I did
Yeah.
2 seasons with him in America and
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah. We'll get to
And
that.
that was as a result of. So
Yep.
being self-employed, as long as I was getting paid and there was money in the bank, wifey was quite happy, carry on, you
Ah.
know.
Cool. So it wasn't Howard. It wasn't long till you won. You won in '89, didn't you? The Ulster. What's your memories of that? And that was some result back then.
My memories of that petrify me. Finished the last stage, Tobermore, right? We caught Brooks because he had a turbo problem, and I know we were 24 seconds behind him, so we didn't have to pass him. So we caught him, and I said, "We don't have to pass him to beat him." Anyway, he pulled over and he let us by, and we went by, and we got to the end of the stage, and one went off, fantastic, and out the car and she, yeah, 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 yeah. And I jumped back in the car, and off we went down the road, and I'd had my time card filled in.
You what? You hadn't had the time card
I
filled
hadn't
in.
had my time card filled in.
God's sake.
Exactly, exactly.
So what did you do?
I filled it in myself.
Aye.
In the next village, I stopped. And I stopped Nicky Grist and Dave Metcalf and asked to look at their time card and then check the colour of the pen. I had the time frozen on my computer
Oh
at the
God,
brand
right. Okay.
trip meter. Then when I had a
Yep.
fancy trip meter, fair play with Brooklyn, I had a fancy trip meter. So I had the time of the actual time on that, so I just put that in, and then I just checked what colour pen it was with Gristy, and filled it in and signed it. And Gwynda was petrified. Oh, we're going to get excluded. We're going to get excluded. And I said, what? Well, because we turned around and went back to the control, that would have been a no-no, wouldn't it?
Oh, you can't. Aye, exactly.
You can't.
Ah, you got it. You
So
got
it
it.
wasn't until he had that trophy in his hand about 9 o'clock that Gwynda said, "We've won this rally." I said, "Yeah, we have actually won it now. We
How
can't
did
take it
you?
off you."
How did you get on the championship? Because you finished third in the Scottish. You must have had a good season.
I think we were third. Were we third or fourth?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and I
Still good
don't
going.
remember. I don't remember. It was a good result, like. And then we finished 11th overall on the RAC,
Yes.
and we were first Ford, first
Mm-hmm.
two-wheel drive.
Yep.
And I think that's what convinced Ford to give Gwyndaf the drive the following year
Mm-hmm.
in the Group N car and to develop the four-wheel drive car.
Is this when you went to Finland and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
How
Yeah,
was how
that's
was
it.
Finland, Howard?
Finland was an eye opener. Finland was incredible. We crashed the recce car, we crashed another car, and we crashed the rally car. It was yeah, it was another world really. We were ducks out of water really,
Oh,
paddling like hell, but it was a hell of an experience, you know.
that must have culture shock, eh?
Um, I did enjoy. We finished 21st overall. I think we were second or third in Group N, but it was a pretty big experience. I really halfway through the recce, I just said I can't do this. This is not for me. I can't do it. This is I want out. Like,
Really?
and uh, and I just went and sat down, and I thought about it, and I said to Wyndham, look, I mean, basically we gone out at night, practicing at night, and it was just, I don't know, you're not in a rally conditions, but it's the same as a rally, And I
Hmm.
was getting the notes wrong and the timing was wrong. And I just went back and I said, I can't do this, Gwyneth. I can't do it. And he said, yeah, you can do it. It's not, don't worry, don't think about it being Finland. It's just another rally. It's just another rally. It's another stage. You can do it. You just need to knuckle
Focus.
down and buckle down to it.
Well, you did San Remo, didn't you, that year as well?
Yeah, well, that was fantastic. That was. I did enjoy San Remo. Yeah, I enjoyed the recce as well. We had a lot of crack, actually. We recce'd with Malcolm and Nicky
Hmm.
Grist, so we had a laugh, like, had some screams. And then we did RAC and finished 11th. And then the interesting thing then, you don't find out for years afterwards, we were all destined to do the World Group N Championship the following year.
Hmm.
But Ford signed, what's his name? Alex Fiorio
Euro, yeah.
and Delacour, and they didn't have
Mm.
enough money, and they pulled the what is £500,000, which was destined for our project to go and do the World Championship. They pulled that finance and dovetailed it into Delacour
You know,
and Fiorio, and that's sad that was.
to be
But
fair,
that
Howard,
opened another
that's
door, right? Because the following year I was contracted to Ford then, and I remember Ashcroft saying to Ashcroft, what's going to happen now? Then he said, well, I've agreed to pay you, and there was a bit of a discrepancy with the money. And I said, well, I thought, I thought you were more honourable than that. And he said,
uh-huh.
well, when the contract came through, it was what it was originally agreed. So he obviously found me things to do then, didn't he? And I ended up going to Malaysia with Mark Lovell.
Yes, aye.
I did some Malaysian rallies with Lovell in a TX3 Turbo. That was an interesting car. Um, I think we did 3 or 4 rallies actually. So that was another door open. Then another, somebody else to navigate fun. He was great fun. He was good fun. He was.
Do you know,
He was a laugh.
it's not the first time Ford have went against their word, though, really. Let's face it, I've done it a lot of
Well,
times.
no, exactly. No,
I
no,
said,
exactly.
this is uncensored, Howard. I don't give a shit.
No, well, I mean, I don't either. I got no regrets. I mean, they were
Yeah,
pretty good to us, really. I mean, the one person that was really good to me was Gwyndaf. I had no experience. I'd never done a rally out of Wales, and he believed in me, and he believed I could do it. And we got on, and that was important for Gwyndaf to be in the right frame of mind and to be happy. And he,
do you know,
he knew I could do the job.
Howard? See, when I listen to you, you've got a great personality, and for what I remember of Gwyndaff, you just kind of seem like opposites.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And maybe
definitely.
that was a good thing. Maybe
Opposites
that's,
attract, likes repel. Yeah.
maybe it was
Yeah,
a good thing. Eh?
and Gwynda was clever. He'd give me the bullets and I'd shoot them.
Yeah,
Gwynda would fall out with nobody, but I'd fall out with everybody because it was always me who was
yeah.
giving them the shit. Or when you get to say, tell them that's not right. Tell them this isn't right. This is shit. That's shit. And it would be
Aye.
me that'd be doing that. Gwynda would just be sitting there. So he'd be I'd be the one who was arguing with everybody. It was quite funny, really, looking back on it. Some of the
91.
stand up, some of the rows I had with Baz Cannon. Do you know Baz Cannon from Golden Spooner?
All right, right. I know the name. Aye.
Oh, I mean, some of the rows I had with Baz Cannon were unbelievable. Like shouting at each other and shaking. It was funny, really. But it was because Gwyndaf was so shy and he never wanted to
Yeah,
upset anybody. He'd leave it to me to sort out. Like it was
yeah.
funny, really.
Aye.
But he
Right,
was,
right.
I tell you, he was an interesting character, Gwyndaf. I used to say to the boys, right, uh, the car's good. You've been tested. Car's good, right? Nothing to worry about, right? Alter the seat. What? Just alter the seat slightly. Why? Because when he gets in the car, he'll say the seat's in the right place. You fucking messed about with the seat, and then they'll spend the next half an hour messing about with the seat, and they won't touch nothing else.
Got
Because
you.
Wyndham was such a perfectionist,
Was
he
he?
always was constant strive for perfection. So
Right.
he'd start to fiddle with things. Are we doing this? Are we doing that? Are we doing the right thing? And it was interesting. And he made some decisions which went against the grain on a few events. And I never forget there was one on the RAC. I think it was in '94, and they tested the different diffs in the F2 car,
Mm-hmm.
and they tested the top speed, the final drive ratio, and they tested engines, and there was a combination which pulled all the way through, and gave you fantastic traction.
Right.
but it didn't give you the top end, and
Hmm.
it didn't have the maximum power.
Right.
And he chose that option, and everybody couldn't believe it. What the hell are you doing, Gwynder? What are you doing? You should be going for the other engine, which has got another. It was about 16, 18 horsepower, and
Right.
then the diff, which made you go faster. Gwynder said, "We don't need that. We won't be going that fast anyway. We want constant traction, and we want an
Yeah.
engine that pulls all the way through." And we won F2, we came sixth overall. And when we were starting the rally, when I was, oh Christ, have I done the right thing? And everybody was, oh, you should be on the other engine, you should be this. But he stuck by himself, and that was a great lesson for him to,
Aye.
believe in what you believe in. Like,
Aye, your gut feeling, eh? Stick with your
yeah,
gut.
yeah. And we
How
were
was
sixth
Sweden,
overall.
Howard? How was Sweden? You went there in 91. You just
Oh,
rewind a wee bit. What was
that
that
was a
like
bit
for
of
you?
it was a little bit of a disaster, really. We went there in the Sierra Cosworth, and we didn't have a proper tire package. We only had one tire, and there was about 3 or 4 different tires available. And we were just told that's the tire you got to use. Like, and the bloody car was a bit of a handful. And I think expectation was quite high, and Sweden is quite difficult.
Aye. Aye.
And we were doing okay, but we tipped it over, and we went down the road on our roof, and then the windscreen popped, and then we were probably the fastest snow shovel you've ever seen in your life. I
Really?
actually thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die because I had a full faced helmet and it was filled with snow. I couldn't see, I couldn't hear, I
Bloody
couldn't
hell.
breathe. And then these early birdies came out of came out of the trees, tipped it back over, and then we drove to the end of the stage. It was minus 13 and bloody snow in the car. It was horrendous. Like. And then we had one more stage to service, and I think I put my helmet on backwards. So cold to stop the
Aye.
wind, and I wrapped Gwynder around with a coach, and we drove to service. And he was blue. Gwynder was blue. He wasn't a good fella at the best of times, but when we got there, he was blue. And
But
so they decided we got to the end of the leg, and they decided to restart the following day. And I think we caught 13 cars on the first stage
wow.
because we were so fast, seated so far
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah.
Damaged headlamps, and damaged windscreens, and all this kind of stuff. And then they decided then to withdraw us on the grounds of safety.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Local
Tell me.
newspaper picked up on this, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was about the time of the Q8 war,
Right,
and it
okay.
said, the local newspaper said, Ford withdraws rally car on grounds of safety for their crew. And it was all misconceived,
Oh,
like,
for
because
God's sake.
everybody thought it was to do with the bloody war. It was nothing to do with the
Jeez,
war at all.
oh.
It was so we got massive publicity over that.
Brilliant.
It was quite funny, actually.
Howard, what was you just mentioned an accident there. What's the biggest accident you've been involved in? I mean, I'm thinking right away to 96 at Chatsworth. But have you had bigger accidents than that?
Um, 96 Chatsworth, that was quite big, yeah. We had
Mhm.
quite a nasty accident in the Isle of Man in 89, 88, 89, 89, in
Mhm.
that pink car. We hit
Right.
a house going down St. John's.
Yeah.
That was a big accident. That took a long time to stop. Um, yeah, for me, Chatsworth wasn't that bad because we just landed hard on the roof. But Gwynder was sitting so high up, the roof hit his head. One of the worst accidents we had was sort of fifth gear to stop on a 90 left, not far from here, actually, about 3 miles from here as the crow flies, at the start of the Dovey stage on the, let me think now, 91, 92, 92 REC. And I know the road really well. You go from the start, it's flat out from the start up to the top of the hill. And then there's a couple of kinks, a couple of threes and fours, and then it's flat out again up to this 90 left, which is about half a mile.
Mhm.
And it's just a long flat right, long flat left, long flat left. And it was 290 left. And we came up there, we must have been in fifth gear, and we were flying up there way too fast, and there was no traction. Brake to the 90 left, and the tires just filled with mud. and we went off and we hit this rock face. And there's a friend of mine who I ride bikes with, lives in town. He was watching there with his mum. He'd walked up, and he said he'd never seen anything like it. He said it's like an aeroplane accident. But the reason that the accident was quite bad, because when I sat in the car afterwards, I couldn't touch the cage with my head. But in the accident, I hit my head on the cage, so I must have stretched. And the gear lever smashed against the dash, so the whole chassis twisted. That was a, and I was off work after that accident for a few weeks with whiplash. I couldn't walk hardly. That was probably the worst impact. Like,
So 98, you won Ulster again, is that right, in the Seat?
Yes, yeah. That was quite an interesting event as well, because we pulled up to the start and we went testing the week before, and the engine blew, and then the spare engine blew. And so they had 3 engines, and they got a guy over from Solution F in France. And these guys, it was funny. They came to this workshop. I think it was one of the what's the Irish boys got the Citroen?
McShea?
Oh, Christ. No. Oh, I can't think. Just outside Belfast, on the dual carriageway on the left hand side. I can't think what their names were. They had this workshop. These boys from Solution F came to build this engine, and they covered everything in white sheets.
Okay.
And when he went in there, it was like an operating theatre. And they wouldn't let anybody in, and they built this engine from scratch, and that was the best Seat engine we ever had. And Gwyndaf said to the engine builder, "What is the engine okay?" Flat out. Shit or bust, basically.
Yep.
I said, "Do I need to run it in?" No, just go. He said, "Because there's nothing else we can do. We've built this engine from bits from the 3 engines. There's nothing we can do. Just go for it." And I remember on the first stage, it was wet, and we always shot a crossroads, and we picked a stake up on the roof, and we were going down the stage with a stake flying everywhere.
Okay.
That was a bit off-putting. And we got to the end of the stage, and I think we were 3 seconds quicker than anybody else. And we'd had this overshoot, and I said to Gwyndaf, "We don't need to do any more. We don't need to do any more. This pace is good. This engine is good." But I said, we've been off. We've overshot.
Mm-hmm.
We take 8 seconds away from there, we'd be 12 seconds up now. We don't need to push any more than we're doing. And we went from there, and we just relaxed a little bit and just built up a lead. And everybody else, I don't remember what other people did, but they all fell apart, didn't they?
Aye.
We won. I think we won by over a minute.
A good measured drive.
Yeah.
So 99, you went to Argentina.
Oh my God, yeah. Argentina.
Everybody I speak to, Howard, people I interview, they all love Argentina.
Yeah, incredible place. I mean, it's almost like a third world country, It's so bloody poor, and the deprivation you see is unbelievable. But they've all got shell suits and mobile phones, They might live in a little shack on the side of the road, but they got their priorities. But what they've got right is they've got the social aspect of life right, Mum and dad work, and then the kids have kids, and then mum and dad look after the kids so the kids can go and work. There's no putting people in a home and working. So there's 10 people in the house in 4 generations, but it's working, isn't it?
Seems to be a
good
idea.
The system is working for them, And I noticed that. I thought, Christ, we're the fools, We're putting old people in old people's homes and bloody, and trying to work until it's empty. No. Get the bloody grandma and grandpa to look after all the kids, and then the mother and father go out to work. And then when the kids are born and the kids are all to work, they go out to work as well, So then you end up with 4 incomes coming into this house, and it's only one house, isn't it? Whereas in the UK, we'd have 4 houses trying to be fed by 3 incomes. You know what I mean?
Aye.
So I envied them there. They had the job sorted, like. But the bloody roads are fantastic, and the gullies, these upside down and back bridges, I call them, waterways. That's what knackered us. We hit a couple of them and broke the car, and it was bloody brilliant. It was a hell of an experience. And we were actually run by Astra Rally Team from
Uh-huh.
Italy. Lou, what was his name? Oh, what
Was it
was his name in the
Bertoni?
book?
No.
Huh?
Was it
The
Bertoni?
bloke. Was it Bertoni? Was he Bertoni? No. Oh, what the hell was his name? Astra Rally team. Luca something.
All right.
Hell of a nice guy, like, but yeah, it was good. And the suspension wasn't as good as our car back in the UK.
All right.
So we struggled a little bit. Windham struggled. You wanted in UK, and they had this thing about raising the car high, so the car wouldn't lean. So we struggled a little bit with the pace. And then we hit this upside down on Bridge and took I think the exhaust or the manifold broke or something like that. But
What's
yeah,
your
it was
favourite WRC event, Howard?
we went to Australia that year as well.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I enjoyed that. Perth, I love Perth in Australia.
What's your
And I
favourite
did
event?
enjoy, oh, I don't know, it's a job. I enjoyed Sweden, I enjoyed Finland. I don't know. Argentina again. Because obviously I've done all these events before working doing the weather, you see.
Yeah.
So I did that for 3 years, doing the full World Championships. I've been to all these countries again, on the other side.
Did you go to New
Um,
Zealand at all in any capacity?
yes, I went to New Zealand 3 times. I
Was
went to
that
New
good?
Zealand looking after American guests for Subaru once.
Ah,
That
right.
was fantastic. And we watched for 3 days in a helicopter. I
What are you
asked them,
doing?
what's your budget? I go, have you got a budget? And they said, yeah, we got a budget. And this is what we got for a helicopter. I don't remember what it was, 3,000 New Zealand dollars. So I phoned from this little office here. I phoned a guy in New Zealand. I said, need a helicopter for 3 days. And it was a guy called Helitrans, right? Helitrans. And he said, I said, I've got $3,000. And he said, I could do 2 days for $3,000. And he said, but it'll depend on the flying that you do. He said, the pilot is keen on rallying, so he'll come for next to nothing. He said, and how many of there? Well, there'll be 5 of us probably, so there'll be 6 for the pilot. Okay, he said, I'll definitely do 2 days for $3,000. Okay. So we saw every stage
Wow.
on the first 2 days, right? And then on Saturday afternoon, I said, right, what about tomorrow now? You got to finish it off. And the pilot said, I'll come for free if you phone the guy who owned the chopper. So he worked out how many hours we've been flying. He said, yeah, you're in your hours. You can have Sunday as well.
Wow.
We missed 2 stages for some reason, but we watched every stage, bar two. But I
Oh
think
my
there was
God.
18 stages and we watched 16. It's brilliant because
Plus you were getting paid for it.
oh, you'd have seen it was. And then actually, they sent me out on a business class flight, and I changed the flight, and I stayed with my mate for a week down in the South Island. My mate who was doing a farm exchange. Oh, it was fantastic. I had a great
Oh,
time,
brilliant. Brilliant.
and I
But
took these American journalists. Oh, fantastic. One guy from car and driver, and another guy from another American newspaper. And then there was a photographer and 2 guys from Subaru America. Brilliant. Howie David, they used to call me. Hey, Howie, where are we going today,
Howie.
Howie? Yeah. And I was there sort of rally man and organised everything on the ground. And I did. I organised everything from here. Somebody else organised the flights and that itinerary and all that stuff. But when it
Oh,
came to the rally, it was me, Howie David.
oh,
Good,
brilliant.
good.
Honestly.
And then I took
Fantastic.
40 Seat dealers to Perth. I took them first of all. I took them to Greece, to Acropolis, and then that was such a success. Went on then to Perth for the Rally Australia. That was good crack.
I'll bet
That
you.
was good fun. Yeah, that was good,
Talking of
and I
Seat,
enjoyed that side of it. Huh?
okay. Talking of Seat, how was the Cordoba? Personally, it was my favourite WRC car looking.
It was
Um,
an interesting car, the Cordoba. I mean, it was predominantly um, broad drive technology, wasn't it?
mhm.
A lot of the gearbox and the transmission was broad drive. The engines were quite strong. Um, yeah, it was all right. It was a good car. We did a lot of mileage in that car. We did a lot of testing. And I went out to Spain a few times. We went out testing, doing mill testing for the WRC, but they just never quite got it right. Did they? They struggled. I don't know. They struggled. The team struggled a little bit as well. They made some bad decisions. We One of the interesting things we did I did 3-4 days testing here in Wales, I organised all the roads, and the drivers all came. Oriel didn't come. Gardemeister came, and Roving Pera came, and Oriel didn't come for that test, and I had to navigate for Gardemeister, and he didn't bring the navigators, and Roving Pera. That was interesting.
I'll bet.
And I'll tell you a little story, right? And then we did at the end of the week. Then Gwyndaf and I did the Audi Sport.
Yep.
Yeah, but the car stalled on a hairpin and we couldn't restart it. There's two interesting stories here. It was on a hairpin. It was on a double hairpin in Taliesin, and I said to Gwyndaf, there was 2-3 spectators down there. I saw them. I think I know who they were. So he ran off down to get help, and I stayed with the car, and I kept trying to tickle it to see if it would start.
Yeah.
Just on the battery, or put it in gear and try, and eventually it fired.
Right.
And Gwyndaf was running up the road with these 3 spectators, and I tore off up the road to go up to the top of the hill so that if it stalled again, we could roll down backwards and start it. And he thought I was going, and he was shouting, "Stop! Stop! Go!" Which was quite funny.
Brilliant.
But the story I was going to tell you before that was, we went to this test, and Harry Roving Pera turned up, and I liked Harry. He was a nice bloke. He used to sort of gentle Finn, you know.
Aye.
And he said, "Okay, you must read the pace notes for me." I said, "Yeah, no problem, Harry. This. I can do English pace notes." So he wrote these notes, and it was quite, they were quite good. And then he said, "Okay, now we got in the car." And this was a male test car, right? And on the dash, there was a toggle. And it said on this toggle, it said semi, auto, or manual. And they were testing the transmissions for the following year in this car. And Harry gets in now, and I never forget the engineer. His name was Ignacio Bulto, and he was the son of Bultaco, the people who built Bultacos in Spain, the trial spikes. And Ignacio, and he gets in the car, and I get in, and I've been in this car for 2 days now, so I was pretty. And he said, "Ignacio, what is this? Harry, leave alone, leave in manual, do not touch." "But what is it?" "Oh, Harry, it's for next year's gearbox. It's the semi-automatic gearbox." "Oh, it works." "Harry, leave it alone." Okay, Ignacio. So we go off up to the stage, run up the stage once. He said, "I wonder if automatic gearbox works." And he sticks it in semi, and then he just touches the paddles, and it's changing gear on its own. So he says, "Hey, it's good, huh? This is good, huh? This is very good for next year, huh?" And then he puts it in auto, right? It's fully automatic now. We blast up this stage, right? And I'll never forget, we're coming back down, and we're coming down to a hairpin left, and it goes from 6th to 1st. Well, you virtually saw the fucking bonnet bulging with with the valves coming through the bonnet, like.
Oh, shit.
Oh. And he went back, and he put it back into manual, and he went back to service it. Ignacio, the car is not running right. The car is not going right. And so that was it. So he said to me, "Quiet. No say. Okay. So then after about an hour, obviously they got on the telemetry, didn't they?
Aye.
Just heard Ignacio, "Harry, I tell you not to touch." And he said something like, "I had to touch. Once you told me what it was, I had to find out if it's any good." That's how mad he was, like.
That's crazy.
He was
honestly.
He was a hell of a character. Another thing I remember about those 3 days testing, I went with Gardemeister. We went up this road, and there was lots of gorse bushes. And he was cutting through these gorse bushes, and the gorse was coming through the vent. And when we got to the end of the stage, I was all these bloody gorse prickles stuck in my body. Harry was a very, very good driver. I was very impressed with Harry. He was the quickest, I thought.
Right, okay.
And his driving, he was very, very, very natural, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So let's talk about Elfyn for a minute. I usually just end up, once I've been through somebody's career, I usually give them about 10 questions. First question I've got is, what's your thoughts on Elfyn winning the title this year? Is this his best chance?
It
With
is his best chance, isn't it? Because he's not got Ogier and
Robin
Robin
Perra.
Perra to worry about. He needs a little bit of luck, doesn't he? He's definitely got the pace. There's no question about it there. But Elvin needs to keep the pace. When things go wrong, what happens with Elvin? You'll notice he'll go like Monty,
Mm.
fastest, and then seventh. He when he what I saw happen was his car wasn't set up for the damp. His car was set up for the dry and the good conditions. But when he was running down the order, he lost his confidence with the car,
Yeah,
and he loses too much time to be able to make it back up. And if you look historically at what he's done in the past, that's what he's done. He'd get back to maybe second or third, but that gap, no, you'd never see Ogier. You see Ogier doing mistakes, but he never loses that big gap.
yeah, that's true. So
And that's what he needs to manage the, how can I explain it? Manage the offensive better.
I understand, and I agree with you. I agree with everything you just said. However, I still think third and Monty was a good result to start the season. Tough place to go,
Yes,
and I
yes.
don't think he should be too downhearted.
No, he's not. They're
No,
not actually. I was
good,
speaking to Elvin, and they're not downhearted about it at all.
good, good.
They think, yeah, that's not a bad result. We'll take that.
Next question, WRC. In football, Howard, right? You've got, to me, it's like in football, it's the tail wags the dog, right? The players have got too much say. They seem to, with agents and the managers. See the WRC with these guys going part time. I mean, you've got a world champion there deciding to go part time. I didn't get that's not a good look for the sport. And would that happen with anybody else that was maybe not as good as Ogier and Cali? I don't like where we're going with that.
No, I don't either. And if you're looking in from the sport, and you're thinking part time, that's a bit weird. What's that all about? I don't think it's a good look for the sport, but I think it's a sign of the sport as well. It's too complicated. It's too long. They're away from home for too long. Um,
But they used to be away
no,
for a lot longer, Howard.
we got to remember as well. Harry's got to do his um, he's got to do his not Harry.
National
What's his name?
service. National
Keller.
service.
He's got to do his national service. And I think that's part of the reason he's gone part time, isn't it?
You're saying about
And
the time
Ogier,
away,
for
but
me, Ogier should be out of it. Ogier should be gone.
I agree.
You could, if you win the World Championship a certain amount of times, you're not allowed to enter anymore.
I don't know about
No, you
that.
shouldn't have this seven, eight, nines. 5 times, move on, let somebody else in. Because you're
Aye.
world champion, the best in the world. You're best in the world again. You're best in the world again. Best. Oh, it's crap. Sorry, I
Listen,
don't agree with that at all.
I don't know if I can work like that, but I get your sentiments and I agree. I mean, somebody was talking about Loeb coming back again. I don't like this, Are we that bereft
No.
of young, great drivers these days?
Yeah.
That they're bringing back.
Look at Carlos Sainz, 61, doing Dakar. Like, what's the matter with them?
Right, okay.
They ain't doing it for nothing, are they?
Where do you think the sport will be in 10 years? Because, there's been a lot of negativity. I do a podcast every week and we can be quite negative about it. And with the entries, the costs of...
Where were we 10 years ago? Where were we 10 years ago? 2014.
10 years ago, you had Loeb winning everything, didn't you?
Yeah.
And...
What did we have? What cars did we have?
We had the Fords, the Citroens.
We had Fiesta. Fiesta World Rally cars, didn't we?
Yeah, and
I mean, will we be hovering about without tyres, not touching the road, and driving hovercrafts? Will we move on to a contactless sport where we don't cause any damage to the environment? Will we be on road?
You sound a bit disheartened, Howard.
Will we be running on road tyres? Will we be running in standard production cars with a lot of safety devices on them to keep us safe, but reducing the cost? Do we need Rally 1? If we had WRC 2, you've got 7 cars, 2 drivers in each car. That's 14 drivers.
Yeah.
Every team must run a third driver who's never scored points in the World Championship. That's 21 drivers who could win the World Championship rally.
I
Now,
absolutely
why they
agree.
can't see that? Do you know what the answer to me was when I put that to somebody?
So,
There's 7 manufacturers. You got 6 losers on Monday morning. Yeah, but you think about it. You're selling your product. Your MD is sitting in that big cheese tower, and you're rallying, and you're coming sixth and seventh every time.
yeah,
They shouldn't get pissed off with it, don't they?
just have to improve,
And
eh?
that's one of the reasons why some of these teams pulled out. Like, so the only thing they've got to do, they've got to make it closer. They've got to make it fairer, and they've got to make they've got to make everybody win. So everybody gets a fight to the bite of the cherry.
Well, I mean, see if you look back at the F2. I mean, that was the most competitive rallying I've ever seen. The British Championship
Yeah, it
F2.
was.
Remember that?
Yeah,
Of course you
yeah,
remember. Bloody hell. Where,
yeah. It
what's your
was pretty
thoughts on
spectacular.
what's your thoughts on MSUK, Howard? Have you?
Oh well, I've got my own personal thoughts there, but Dave Richards really hasn't done what he said he was going to do. Whether he hasn't done it because he hasn't been able to do it. What you've got to bear in mind is Dave Richards come from a commercial entity, doesn't he? ProDrive. He is the champ. He's the boss.
Yeah.
That bloke there. He tells him what to do. He pays him. He pays him. He pays him.
Aye.
He control it all by employing people. When you come into the volunteer sector, you can't do that. And that is where they've fallen down. They can't control the volunteer sector. Rallying in all of our motorsport is relatively controlled by the volunteer sector, and they move very slowly. And if you look at the average age of people in the rally community,
Yep.
they're older.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the MSUK, one of the worst things that they did was they pulled the plug on the Go Motorsport program, which was trying to generate new
Yes.
life.
Yeah. I
And
remember
I,
that.
I have a vested interest in that because I was the RDO for Wales. So
Yes.
that was one of the worst things they did. But
Why? Why did they do that? I don't
because
understand why they did it.
it cost too much money, and basically they were paying. It was being funded by their investments. A couple of the investments didn't do very well one year, so the funding was pulled. Now they're sitting on 11 million.
Yeah.
And my answer to Dave Richards was that at the moment you have a pyramid, right? And at the top is Wales Rally GB, RAC Rally, call it what you
Yeah.
like. And that's the top of the pyramid. And everybody's working every weekend to go and do RAC, to work on RAC, to marshal on RAC, to be a doctor, to be
Aye.
whatever you want to be. That's the one you're going for. We haven't got it. We haven't got a pinnacle event. We haven't got that event everybody's working for.
Who'd have thought? I mean, I've been going since the early 80s to rallies, and I would never think that there was never going to be a WRC event in this country. And the highest echelons of the sport in this country are national series. You know, the BTRDA and the SRC and that, they're the top series. Who would have thought that all those years ago? We've not even got a national championship now. Although, all right, I know we've got the BRC, but it's downgraded a lot, hasn't it? And hopefully it's getting better though.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, the BTRDA and SRC have been the places to be in the last few years. They've been terrific.
I'm not sure myself if the staff that Dave Richards has employed are dynamic enough to be able to make the changes and to drag things forward. I've had the opportunity. I've spoken to Dave Richards. I've done a couple of these podcasts and things myself, and I went to see Dave Richards and I challenged him on it, but he he said they're working hard at it. And I said, well, nobody knows that. You're doing it in the dark then. Because I didn't know you're working hard on things. Tell us, tell us
Absolutely.
what you're doing tell us what you're trying to do to get a WRC event back in the UK. If it's in Ireland, it's in Ireland. It doesn't matter, but we need that pinnacle event, especially rallying does. And, you can look at historic rallying and you can say that Colin Heppenstall is doing that.
Aye.
He's doing a fantastic job, but he can't do that single-handed, and he needs help. And he needs that help pretty soon because it's getting too big for him now, isn't it?
If I was Dave Richards, I'd be a bit concerned that the biggest rally of the year was a historic event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was fantastic. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I loved every minute of it. But surely I would definitely be concerned that that was the case. Let's move up a key here. Who's the greatest ever driver, Howard, in your opinion?
Greatest ever driver, in my opinion. Oh God, that's a difficult one. I mean, I was going to say Harry Vatanen, but I think if you put up Harry Vatanen up against Sebastian Loeb, he'd beat him every time. Carlos Sainz is special to me as well. God, that's a difficult one. I don't know.
I'm sure you've been asked that 1,000 times. Come on.
Dick Beck. Dick Beck is a boy from Corris, right? And he was a really good driver, right? I did a couple of rallies with him. His cars were terrible. He didn't have any money, and he broke his hip in a what you call it, in a croc car race. And he
Right.
never worked after that. And I reckon if Dick Beck had the money, he could have been world champion.
I'm not accepting that, Howard. Come on.
Oh God.
For me, it's Mikola. I've always thought Mikola was the greatest.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that Mikkel had the best kit. You know, he won the rallies because of the Quattro.
No,
And
but
you know
even in the Escort.
when you put the German in the Quattro, then what's his name, Walter Roll, he trounced him, didn't he?
Yeah, but if you look at the Escort, nobody could
Yeah,
get
but he
near.
didn't. He wasn't streets above everybody else in the Escort. He won the RAC a couple of times, didn't he?
But I
But
mean, Vatanen admitted they couldn't get near Mikola in the Escort.
I don't know. I'm gonna say Sebastian Loeb.
All right, okay. There's no many people can argue with that. Which car that you've competed in would you love to have in your garage now?
Hmm. Can I have two?
You can have. Every man needs a pair. On you go.
I'd have a Seat Cordoba World Rally car,
Yep.
E2, and
Yes.
I'd have the Ford Escort Cosworth that we went to Indonesia in.
Right. Was it? What one was that? Was that the what colours?
Yeah, it's a works car, the
Yeah.
Repsol car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty special.
Right.
Um,
You can bring 4 people to a dinner party from the world of rallying, past or present. Who would you have?
Harry Vatanen, Phil Collins because he's great fun. Um, Gwyndaf because he's been good to me,
Mm-hmm.
and Emyr Penlan. He's the guy that produces the docs that I do,
Okay. Okay.
and he's been good to me as well.
Okay. Fair enough. A driver you would have loved to have sat with, but never.
Malcolm,
Really?
I'd like to have sat with Malcolm.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I think we'd
Right.
have had a
Fair
lot of
play.
fun. I think we'd have had a lot of fun.
Any regrets in the sport, Howard?
No, I can't say regrets. Would I do some things differently if I did them again? Possibly. And that was one of them. Malcolm asked me to do the Vauxhall with him, and I said, "Oh, I can't do it because I'm doing it. I'm doing it with Gwyndam," and it never came off. And then I didn't get the seat. And
Uh-huh.
then Malcolm went on to do some World Championship events that year, and I would have probably got the chance to do them. Um, uh, no, I mean I've had a bloody great time. I've had some bloody great time. You know, I mean, I tell you, one of the characters I sat with was David Galanders.
Oh, David,
Now,
yeah.
not a popular guy in Scotland, is he? You know, you either like him or you hate him. But
Yeah.
I loved him. I had a great time with Galanders. We had a great crack. It was real good fun, actually.
He's a character.
And it was really sad that we didn't win the national championship. He could have won the national championship against Mellors, and I think we were 13 seconds off at the end of the rally, and he gave it his best shot. In fairness to him, there's another guy, Jeff Jones, around here.
Yeah,
I've done quite a few rallies with him. There's another good driver that probably could have been nice to see him do a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Two more questions.
Oh, I got no regret. No, I can't. I can't have. I've had a brilliant time. I've been places around the world where I never, ever, ever dreamt of being. I've been paid to do it, and I've got a bit of money in the bank, and I've met some great characters, and I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy. I mean, one of the interesting things was I lost all that weight for Seat. Yeah. I came down to 13 odd stone, and that was a massive challenge. And that was something that that is a regret that I put all that weight back on. Because it's very, very difficult, and I'm struggling now, but obviously I'm on the downward spiral life, and carrying a bit of weight's not good. So that would be probably the biggest regret. But what it did, it sucked the personality out of me as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't the same person when I was light.
I can understand that. So I know people that have been in that predicament.
An interesting observation, really.
Final question, Howard. One car, one stage. Any car, any stage. What would it be? From history, could be anything.
It would probably be the stage up the road here called Pamperthog, with Gwyndaf in a Sierra Cosworth 4-wheel drive car. And I don't think we were fastest, but I think we were second fastest to Colin McRae.
Really?
Yeah. And there wasn't much in it. We were, the stages, there was 2 in Clydeinog, and then we did Aberhyrnant, and then we came down to Pamperthog. And I think we were in the top 5 in all them. And then we came to Pamperthog, and I think Colin beat us by a second. And I think you'd be looking at going back to 1991.
One in the Legacy, beating the Legacy.
Yeah, he was in the Legacy.
I think he rolled it, didn't he, in 92 at Barton's Bend. Is that right, the Legacy?
Yeah, what happened to us then? 1991. It was 91, it was. That was the year that we went off in that.
Right.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
I can't remember now.
Don't worry, I can't remember either, but I get the gist of it.
Yeah, it was. It was that particular stage in Pamperthog, and then the next stage we went off.
Right, got you.
Well, that was the year. Yeah, I think we were like 12th or 14th overall.
I'm going to chuck one more at you, right? Best ever memory in rallying. If somebody mentions your career, what's the one bit you look at and just smile?
Oh, winning the British Championship was pretty special. Winning that British Championship in '96 in Ulster.
Aye.
That was special.
It really meant something, didn't it? The BRC then.
Yes. Yeah, to see that your name on that trophy is pretty special.
Fantastic. Howard, thank you very much for joining me. I could sit and blather for hours,
Yeah, you could.
I know you're a busy man. Massive thank you to 5-Star Vehicle Delivery. And thank you for watching. If you like the video, please give it a like and subscribe. And a massive thanks to you, Howard. And
so where do I find this now? Where will it be on? What will it be on?
I'll get this on YouTube probably tonight, Howard.
YouTube. Okay.
Look after yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.